Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News on 3FM. My name is Beatrice Adu. The news is also live on Kasmi 107.1 FM and across the world at 3news.com. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Governing New Patriotic Party NPP holds two crucial meetings to consider nomination of Energy Minister Dr. Matthew Pokuprempe as the flag bearer's running mate. We'll bring you details. Also on the program, Missing Ghana reports suggest between 2021 and 2023, 610 people went missing, and most of them were children. Bring you details as well as go live to Tamale for update on the death of two children who went missing last month. Later this afternoon, residents of 4 affected districts invaded by mosquito-like insects in eastern region advised to adhere to preventive measures. And on the firing front, millions of people voting in general election in the United Kingdom as polls predict a defeat for incumbent Conservative Party. Thank you very much for joining us today. Now, the Chief Justice and the President, according to the opposition National Democratic Congress, NDC, are allegedly plotting to appoint a majority of justices to the Supreme Court. There have been media reports that the Chief Justice has proposed 5 justices from the Court of Appeals for nomination to the Supreme Court. The Chief Justice, Gertrude Tokonu, formally requested President Afful Adu to nominate 5 justices to the Supreme Court of Ghana. The nominees include Justice Efiasewa Saribuche, Justice Sarah Pamela Kranting, Justice Eric Chebafo, Justice Edward Amwakon Asante, and Justice Angelina Mensah Homoa.
An administration that has shown a blatant disregard for the rule of law and the sanctity of our independent institutions. It is our moral duty to defend our country. We need to unite under a common cause to fight to preserve the integrity of our judiciary and the very soul of our democracy. It will surprise you to know that President Afful Adu, who has already packed the Supreme Court with an unprecedented 15 appointments, is now conspiring with the Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana, Justice Gertrude Isabel Tokonu, to add 5 more justices to our highest courts. This isn't just a political maneuver of an already failed president. It is also an assault on our democracy, a betrayal of public trusts, and a direct threat to the integrity of our judicial system.
And you heard that Fifi Kwetia, he's the General Secretary of the opposition National Democratic Congress. Let me take you through what the Constitution provides for someone to be appointed onto the Supreme Court. Article 144, Clause 2 states, the other Supreme Court justices shall be appointed by the President, acting on the advice of the Judicial Council in consultation with the Council of State and with the prior approval of Parliament. Evelyn Tema is my colleague following the NDC press conference. She joins us live on the line. Evelyn, what more has the NDC been saying about this supposed letter from the Chief Justice recommending the appointment of 5 justices to the Supreme Court?
So, Beatrice, what exactly the General Secretary Fifi Kwetia is saying is that the appointment of these 5 people that the Chief Justice is proposing to the President to do is illegal and it violates the 1992 Constitution. And for that matter, the President should immediately hold his plans to appoint the 5 more judges to the Supreme Court. What they are also saying is that they cited a letter from the Ghana Bar Association some time ago that the President had asked them to nominate 5 people to the Supreme Court, but the GBA rejected it and asked for further consultation. And so the President and the Chief Justice are conspiring to have these 5 more justices appointed to the Supreme Court. And they think that it's an election year, and some of these things they are seeing that it will be a grand scheme. And so there should be justice and there should be fairness in the system. And so they're asking the president to halt the appointment of these 5 more people.
Evelyn Tengma reporting live from that NDC press conference where the General Secretary, like you heard him some minutes ago, is accusing the NPP, the President and the Chief Justice of conniving to appoint more justices to the Supreme Court. Now, as Ghana prepares for its 9th election since independence to elect its president and parliamentarians, there have been renewed calls for political parties and stakeholders to come out with a transformational plan for the country. Discussants during the maiden edition of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology School of Business and Policy Review series have bemoaned a failure of current and previous governments to implement to the letter the 40-year development plan of the country. A legal, professional and corporate strategist at the KNUST School of Business, Dr. Samuel Yao Akomea, wants Ghanaians to look out for political leaders with revolutionary and progressive industrialized policies as they go to the polls come December 7. Let's bring you some more on this, and Ibrahim Abubakar is following this event for us. He joins us live on the line. Ibrahim, just tell us what you've gathered from the event so far. Ibrahim, can you hear us?
Yes, I can, Beatrice.
Excellent. Please tell us what you've gathered from this event happening live at the KNUST.
Well, so basically it's about engaging with the public and also industry players on what should be the...
I'm sorry, we just lost our correspondent Ibrahim Abubakar there. We'll try and reconnect to him and bring you details from the program, but still on matters about elections, the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Akufo-Dampare, says that the police have put in place proactive measures to ensure peace come December 7. Speaking at the inauguration of eminent group organized by the Christian Council, the IGP noted that the police service is on top of its game in dealing with election issues, assuring Ghanaians of maximum protection before, during and after the elections.
Police are using weapons, and the weapons have something in it that can cause harm. So before you resort to these things, you must make sure that you have a justification for doing what it is that has been done. So if it doesn't call for it, we will not get there. If it calls for it, we will deal with it. And that is a message we also want to send to the good people of this country, for them to be at peace with themselves, individually and collectively, and be assured that we are on top of the game. Where we need to add soft, we will add soft. Where we need to add tough, we will add tough, because Ghana belongs to all of us. We should rather consider the little ones we brought forth and see to it that we leave this place better for them to live in peace. So this is the focus of security when it comes to this election we are conducting. And that is the backbone of all the things that we do. So if you see us doing certain things, it is not because of today alone, but because of the future, which we know belongs to our children and not us, because the greater part of ours has been spent. So if you look at the activities of the election that has happened so far, you see that the major one had to do with the registration and the transfer of vote. From where we sit as experts and as professionals, these activities are synonymous to the elections themselves. So if you are able to handle it well and contain it, and you use the lessons learned from those activities to going forward into the election, you can only assure yourself of one thing: the election in terms of security will be better than those past.
You heard that Dr. George Akufo Dampara. He's the Inspector General of Police. Let's return to the Ashanti region, specifically to the KNUST, where, like I told you, there is a discussion going on, which is on the maiden edition of the KNUST School of Business and Policy Review Series that is currently going on ahead of the elections. Ibrahim Abubakar rejoins us on the line with details. Ibrahim, you were making a point about some of the issues that have come up at this program.
Well, this is it's basically about the discussion was centered about on industrialization and its impact on economic growth and how it can also reduce unemployment in the country. Now, stakeholders who are more in the industry sector are saying that going forward, especially in the election, we need to look out for the leader or government who intends providing enabling environment for industry to strive so that we will be able to achieve the target of reducing unemployment and also make sure that we have economic growth. Because but we've had a 40-year development plan, but it appears that every government that comes set that one aside and come with its plan, which means that the next government will also discontinue with government A start and also begin with it. So going forward, they would expect government to be a continuous. Whoever starts from A1, government B should also start, and they need policies that will ensure economic growth so that the country will also see the kind of development that it needs. In fact, the CEO of Association of Ghana Industries, Chuma Kwabwa, has also been speaking to us at the forum.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim Abubakar. We don't have that, but quite an important discussion there going on at the KNUST. Ibrahim Abubakar is our Ashanti region correspondent. We stay on politics and elections because this afternoon all eyes are on the Alisa hotels, where the National Executive Committee and the National Council of the governing MPP are expected to pass judgment on Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's choice of a running mate in Energy Minister Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh. The MPP's flag bearer is expected to justify his choice before the National Council, which is the highest decision-making body of the governing party outside of Congress. Following a week of consultations, many say that today's marathon meetings will only be a formality in confirming the Menchia South legislator. Let's take you to the Alisa Hotel right now, where Noble Crosby Annan is standing by with a bit more detail. Crosby, have party dignitaries begun to arrive for this meeting yet?
Well, this is executives of the NPP. They are yet to arrive at the Alisa hotels, where the final leg for the all-important flag bearer selection, running mate selection, beg your pardon, of the new patriotic party is expected to happen. Now, we know that the energy minister, former energy minister, Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, has been mentioned as the running mate to flag bearer Dr. Bawumia, but that is pending the approval of the National Council and the National Executive Committee of the NPP. When that is done, then it means the road is clear for a battle between John Dramani Mahama and Dr. Bawumia, as well as Professor Jane Opoku-Prempeh against Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh. At the moment, we've seen the secretary of the party, Justin Frimpong-Kodia, around. He has visited the venue where it will be happening just to assess the progress of work, as the military security personnel have all arrived here, putting the place in order, awaiting the all-important arrival of top bigwigs of the NPP here at the Alisa hotels. Now, what is expected to happen here, Beatrice, is the official announcement. Also, the Vice President and flag bearer of the party will meet these groups today: the National Steering Committee, the National Executive Committee, and the NPP National Council. If you look at the invitation to the emergency NEC and NC meeting on July 4, as shared by the executives of the party, it is addressed to all the top executives of the party. And with this, I mean the president has been invited. The national chairperson of the committee is also around. The vice president and the presidential candidate, chief of staff, is also expected to be here, past president. So it tells you that this meeting is a very serious one, and it is awaiting the approval or otherwise of the energy minister. Already, you know that some groups have kicked against the mentioning of the energy minister as the running mate to the flag bearer of the party. Those groups will wait to see whether they'll be here and present any more petitions to the council, but it is the security is very tight here, Beatrice.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Noble Crosby Annan, reporting live from the Alisa Hotel here in Accra, where the National Council, the highest decision-making body of the NPP, is meeting. Executives from the National Council are meeting to decide on whether or not to confirm Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's choice for a running mate going into this year's general election. We'll be looking forward to the verdict from the executives there. Now, the Missing Ghana report suggests that between 2021 and 2023, 610 people went missing, and most of them were children. However, state institutions responsible for matters of security are challenged in providing data on the situation in the country. This concern follows the recent killing of 2 children who went missing in Kapayili, a suburb of Tamale in the northern region. The bodies of the deceased children, who reportedly went missing on June 22, 2024, have since been deposited at the Tamale Teaching Hospital mortuary for autopsy, while the suspect, Malam Madaha, who was arrested and released on bail barely 24 hours later, has been rearrested. Discussing the issues of child security and the role of security agencies in communities, a former Minister for Gender and Children and Social Protection, Nana Oye-Bampoado, said she was worried the gaps in interventions protecting children are enormous.
Looking at security, the security agencies or the Ghana Police Service, it does not seem like we have that addresses the issue of missing children or specifically child protection in terms of missing children. And also we don't have a strategic frame that will also address. So for instance, I don't know whether there's a specific unit. We know we have the trafficking unit, but we don't even have data. So how many children go to UK websites, go to US websites? You'll know people, an organization also called Missing Ghana. So that is where I was able to get some data that between 2021 and 2023, 610 persons got missing, and most of them were children. So in terms of data, we don't know. And then even the dynamics, how do the children get missing? Is it that when they are on their way to school or what? So we are not even able to know exactly how the children get missing, to even know, what programs we can put in place. Has Ghana Education Service come up with a policy that would be implemented in all schools with respect to child safety? So these are the gaps I see.
You heard former Gender Minister Nana Oye-Bampoado. For security analyst Richard Komado, there has been a disjointed approach to addressing the issue of missing children in the country, which has become a public safety concern. He's urging the police service to be more progressive.
It helps the police to be able to address some of these issues. There has been a disjointed approach to this whole finding out the solutions to why children are getting missing. To the extent that the numbers keep going up, then we can definitely say it's a public safety, it has public safety concerns. And I think over the years, when the human trafficking unit was on top and they were doing the job properly as it's supposed to be done, the collaborative nature helps, whether they are women that got missing, whether they are children that got missing, whether they are men. You could have some standardization in terms of data, in terms of the locations, and in terms of what really happened. As it is today, it might be a conjecture where I see, and having done this job for many years, I could say that the police will have to be a bit more progressive within the space.
Richard Komado is a security analyst. Let's go to the northern region and bring you an update on the latest incident where 2 children who went missing were found dead. In fact, their dismembered bodies were discovered in an abandoned vehicle. Christopher Marco is a man who followed that story for us. He joins us live on the phone. Christopher, what's the latest on this?
Yes, so the latest is that the suspect is in police custody, has been rearrested, and police are continuing with investigation. The wife of the suspect has since made a public statement on the background to the entire story. According to her, the children always pass by their house to go to school, and so that explains why residents were agitating that they saw the children around their house. And so that does not mean that they have a hand in whatever that went on. And even so, they had to go to the house with the youth of the community to search the house, and they did not see anything. And so she believes that it's an orchestrated plan by residents of the area to tarnish the image of the husband. Let's take a listen to what she's been saying.
Jabe ngo kami jabe yanga mi bje yanga ka jabe yanga ma mi dolla la ngo ba pa ngo yung amamba mi la ngo pa ma jabe ngo ko kama mi to ran sa no gupa ga madam yanga kam madam le no a je yim be jina ma man fon ban ni ba gom waya ma je so kam di a shahara kamande be ma ay tarbala ban zergo na wonzo dozo so kam di a de shahara dozo na wonne yihbana dozo tam bahala kama kullum bla chan yelmana Friday ma kan lahlab kay madam yey kanatin yaren ada wan ma ada jabal ma yo yelmal mala nan vo yadan ta kan bla in kana ma ya ko ya ma waya ji kunnan yala du'a waye tin chan ha we ti chan me te yi sambana ha inta ve ko kabiyal na kamande bang bahara behla.
You heard the wife of the Malam Mataha, who was arrested for allegedly killing 2 children and apparently confessing also to killing 6 additional people. I believe he was speaking in Dagbani. Christopher Marco is still on the line with us. Can you tell us exactly what she said, please?
Yes. So exactly what she's saying is that she's just giving a narration of how she even got to hear of the issue, that someone prompted her that the residents are saying that they last saw the 2 children around their house, and she said yes, because when the children pass by, she always gives them food and money to go to school. And so for the community to come accusing them of having committed that crime, she believes that it's a plan or a plot by residents of the community to put the good name of the husband into disrepute. And so she's unhappy, and that the investigation is ongoing, and by the end of the investigation, she knows that the husband will come out safe and sound.
Quite interesting. Are you able to tell us how the residents are reacting to the rearrest? Because they had issues when the man was bailed.
Yeah, so residents are happy, and for them, they want the police to continue with the investigation and come out with every findings of the investigation for the public to know what is happening. They believe that if the situation should travel at length and the truth comes out, they'll be very, very happy. But family of the suspect are unhappy because the man's 2 houses have been touched, and as it stands now, their security is at stake in the Akayili community should they return to the community.
Thank you very much, Christopher Marcon. He's our Northern Region correspondent to the Eastern Region now, where residents of the 4 affected districts invaded by mosquito-like insects are being advised to adhere to preventive measures. These residents are also farmers located in Achimansa, Birim South, Achiase, and surrounding districts have reported sharp insect bite over the past weeks on their farms and surrounding areas. The affected districts are predominantly agricultural zones. Eastern Region correspondent Yvonne Nekwe has some updates for us. She joins us live on the line. Yvonne, since you reported about the invasion, can you tell us what steps officials have taken so far beyond advising residents to take precautionary measures?
Okay, Beatrice. So beyond advising the residents on the preventive measures, as you rightly said, what they're doing is actually tracking the insects. Indications we are picking up from the preliminary investigations they've done indicate that it's most likely to be a mosquito breed. But whichever breed it is one of the things they still have to find out to ensure that whatever the bite is given to the patients or its victims doesn't go beyond what they cannot diagnose. And so as I speak to you, the multi-sectoral team from the entomologists, researchers, and everybody is across several of those communities across those 4 districts are reporting from to ensure that the investigations they're doing are right on spot to ensure they're informing on the right decision to take, again, beyond the preventive measure for a very smooth exercise.
Yvonne, I know you engaged one Dr. Eko. Can you tell us who he is and briefly what he said before we hear from him?
Well, Dr. John Eko also is the Deputy Director of Health in charge of Public Health. He says that, indeed, they would have to understand what the figures look like because his concern was that for the past week, the data they have collated shows that between this quarter and last year quarter, malaria cases have shot up around 100, and so it was a worrying situation. Again, they would have to detect if whatever the virus, the insect is passing on is part of the viral disease so that they get to diagnose the patient well and give them the best medication.
Yes, we suspect they are mosquitoes, but of course we know even that mosquitoes, there are different types of mosquitoes and they transmit different things. Yes, we have a suspicion that the bites are leading to increase in malaria cases. But there are other vector-borne diseases that can also be transmitted, i.e. yellow fever, dengue, and other conditions. So it is our hope that hopefully by the end of this week, the team will have some preliminary findings, and we hope we will be able to inform everybody accordingly. Community to understand or to note that we are very much on top of the situation. Already, even though we've not really concluded on what is going on, we've already engaged the chiefs. The district health director started engaging the chiefs and the people, and we are sensitizing them on some of the control measures already in place.
You heard Dr. John Eko. He's a Deputy Director of Health with the Ghana Health Service. Earlier, you heard our Eastern Region correspondent Yvonne Nekwe telling us the situation of insect bites in some communities in the region. Now, the strike by the Civil and Local Government Staff Association of Ghana, CLOGSAC, enters day 2 today, Thursday, July 4. Critical services at the various metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies have come to a halt. Also, activities at the various offices of the Births and Deaths Registry have been impacted by the strike. The Civil and Local Government Staff Association, Ghana, CLOGSAC, is on a strike, demanding the implementation of a new salary structure for its members. On Wednesday, July 3, that's just yesterday, leadership of CLOGSAC failed to appear before the National Labour Commission for hearing on their issues. Now, the National Labour Commission has indicated that it will officially write to challenge the decision of CLOGSAC on the impropriety of the commission.
It's an unfortunate development, and I think that is contemptuous of the commission. Because, especially in the case where this meeting was summoned at their instance, they were the first to write to us that certain agreements or understanding reached between themselves and government, led by the senior presidential advisor, Honorable Afful, and with the Ministry of Employment, Labour Relations, Ministry of Finance, have not been implemented. And that is to do with the new salary structure they are asking for. And that having agreed on something as far back as 2022 to begin in 2023, and now we are in the middle of 2024.
That was Afful Sasamwa. He's Executive Secretary of the National Labour Commission. We'll bring you more on that later, but let's get a quick update from our Upper West Regional Correspondent, Ibrahim Wangara. Ibrahim, what can you tell us in about 30 seconds?
Yes, currently I'm at the One Municipal Assembly in the regional capital of the Upper West Region. And on normal days, this place would have seen people, not only staff or workers, but also clients who are coming to seek some services. But I speak to you now, all their offices are closed, aside some two that are open, but not even to the public. All offices within the municipal assembly are closed, and it's as a result of the strike, as we do know. I have also visited community development offices, and equally they are closed and no activity is taking place. So people who are looking into these places to seek services are mostly turned away because no officer is stationed there to even direct as to why the places are locked.
Ibrahim Wangara, he's our Upper West Regional Correspondent. Thank you for speaking to us. And that's how we end the news here on 3FM. My name is Beatrice Adu. Thank you very much for joining us today. Log on to 3news.com for more news. Have a good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon. It's time now for Business Daily. Coming up, Ghana's Purchasing Managers Index declines, but business confidence remains strong. We'll bring you the latest reports from rating agency S&P Global. Also, energy expert calls for operationalization of Petroleum Revenue Management Act to fund renewable energy investments.
Financing of renewable energy or green economy is part of the act, but it's never been operationalized before, that very bit.
Also ahead, we'll hear from Executive Director of Institute for Energy Security, Nana Amuisi the 7th. And Ghana Union of Traders Association justifies its call for immediate withdrawal of 5% excise tax on plastic manufacturing companies. We'll hear from its president, Dr. Joseph Obeng.
Since 2023, when we had agreement with IMF, new taxes have been imposed on us. The city has so depreciated. In last quarter of 2022, we lost about 52% of our working capitals.
My name is Manu Afful. We have details of these stories and more lined up for you to stay. Time. So the latest report from S&P Global reveals a dip in Ghana's Purchasing Managers Index, indicating a slowdown in business activity. However, despite the downturn, business confidence remains robust as companies express optimism about future growth prospects. The following 3 Business News Desk reports has the details.
According to rating agency S&P Global, Ghana Purchasing Managers Index (PMI) dipped to 49.7 in June 2024 from 51.6 in May. The index signaled a marginal monthly deterioration in business conditions, ending a 4-month sequence of improvement. According to the report, the strong inflation was a key issue for the private sector in June 2024 and was largely responsible for the renewed downturn at the end of the second quarter. Similarly, the rate of purchase price inflation hit a 19-month high, having quickened for the 5th consecutive month. A depreciation of the cedi against the US dollar was the main cause of the rise in purchase costs, according to respondents. Staff expenses also increased again in June 2024 as firms acted to support their workers at a time of rising living costs. In response to the rapid increase in input prices, S&P Global said companies raised their own selling prices substantially. Inflationary pressures dampened demand in June 2024 as new orders were unchanged following 4 consecutive months of expansion. That said, some firms indicated that their customers had accepted price increases and continued to make new orders. Meanwhile, business confidence strengthened in June 2024 amid hopes of an improvement in economic conditions over the coming year. However, optimism in the outlook for output was predicated on stability of both the exchange rate and prices.
Well, that was a 3 Business News Desk report. In more stories, the Executive Director of the Institute for Energy Security, Nana Amoisi VII, has called for the operationalization of the Petroleum Revenue Management Act to finance renewable energy projects. Nana Amoisi emphasized the importance of using a portion of the nation's petroleum revenue to support green economy initiatives, arguing that relying solely on multinational or donor funding undermines local ownership of these critical plans. Ghana is estimated to need approximately $550 billion to be able to finance its energy transition and achieve a net zero emission target by 2060.
We propose that this time around it should not just be fixated on infrastructure, health, education, but then financing of renewable energy or green economy is part of the act, but it's never been operationalized before, that very bit. So we recommend that they look at that one, introduce it into the phrase so that we can get some money. If we keep on waiting for multinationals, waiting for donor agencies to finance our plan, then we don't own the plan. And so we believe that our own share of revenue from upstream can be used to finance this phase.
Well, that was Executive Director of the Institute for Energy Security, Nana Amoisi VII. We shift your attention now to the Ghana Union of Traders Association, as it has justified its calls for the immediate withdrawal of 5% excise tax imposed on plastic manufacturing companies, questioning its economic rationality. According to President Dr. Joseph Obing, the timing of the tax introduction is problematic considering the current instability of the city, rising utility tariffs, and numerous taxes that the business community is struggling with. Guta argues that government is being insensitive to the plight of both the business community and Ghanaians.
At this time that we are having instability of our local currency, the depreciation of the city, it's sad that most businesses are collapsing, and that it is not the right time for new taxes to be imposed on businesses. It is not fair because since 2023, when we had agreement with IMF, new taxes have been imposed on us. The city has so depreciated. In last quarter of 2022, we lost about 52% of our working capitals. This year too, we are suffering the same. Now, the city is about 15.8 to 15.9, which is not okay well for businesses at all. So this is not the time, conducive time, to impose any layer of cost of doing business, especially with regards to the plastics and the tax that we pay. Where we also have environmental tax that we contend with, we pay.
Meanwhile, Guta further argues the numerous taxes has crippled Ghanaian manufacturers from taking advantage of the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement, despite having the Secretariat in the country.
The business that we do not do it in isolation. We are doing it in competition with the rest of African countries, especially in the wake of the AfCFTA. If you overprice your produce, it means that you are out of competition. And this is exactly what we are doing to our local manufacturing entities. You know that we are very much intertwined with our manufacturers, and that the produce is always offloaded to the trading public to sell. And then if we buy these things and then the price is higher, the consumers can also not afford, or the volumes that they used to buy, they cannot buy again. And it kills our turnover and all that. And so it definitely do not help us from within and from outside also, where we have competition with the rest of the member states of the Continental Free Trade Area.
Dr. Joseph Obing is president of the Ghana Union of Traders Association. Well, that brings us to the end of Business Daily here on 3FM 92.7. For more stories, kindly log on to our website on www.3news.com. My name is Manu. Afful. Do stay tuned. Urban Blend is up next.